G'day and welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute. Today we're joined by Mr. Algarad. How you doing, mate?
I'm good.
So we're going to be going through Alien Week. We did get up nice and early to record this, but there's not a lot here to unpack. So we thought we'd go through it, but we did find one very interesting thing that someone shared with us. One of our boosters on Discord actually shared this with me, and I'm going to pass it on to Algrid, and we've gone through it, and it's a really good idea. Save some people a bit of money, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But first off, Algrid, what were your thoughts on this week at the Alien Expo, so to speak, or the Alien
Probably the biggest bonus is the ability to be able to get the BMM.
Yep.
It's probably the most wanted or desired ship. It's certainly it's in many ways, in terms of alien ships, it's a bit like the Carrack was. It's that really desired and versatile ship with lots of roles and abilities to it.
Well, it's funny you mention that because it's actually the second most popular ship in the game after the Carrack. So, and it's now clearly the easiest slonging running ship that hasn't been released. So, yeah.
But there's also that side where I believe it's gone back into white boxing, so that could also be redesigned. So
yeah,
what we know about it is all up in the air.
Yeah, they went back into reconcepting. They want to take some more time with it. But yeah, they had done earlier grey boxing, and now they've gone kind of taken a step back. But as we know, with what happened with the Carrack, that's probably going to make it an even better ship. And I don't know about you, but I've probably said this before, but the longer I wait for my ship to come out, the further along the pipeline is more refined, and then better the ship's going to be.
Well, I think you look at the Connie, and you look at the Carrack, and you look at the time it's spent on the Connie early release and the Carrack, and I'll take the Carrack every day and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, and all those little mistakes they've learned along the way just make something else that much better again. So yeah, the more big ships they work on, the better the ships at the end are going to be. The other part of this, there's actually like a kind of an exception to the rule when it comes to a lot of these
alien ships.
And that's because we don't know how rare they're going to be in game at the end of the day. You know, a lot of the Asperia stuff I think will be probably easier to get your hands on than say some of the actual alien stuff. Like I'm imagining Cyan and Banu is probably going to be a bit harder to get because it's kind of like imported from outside of human space, so it costs a bit to get it there, type of thing.
Whereas things like the Vandal Blade and the Vandal Glaive will probably be easier, but getting a Vandal Scythe is going to be really hard.
Yeah, probably more expensive.
And even if you do get them, because of the size of the races, we probably won't be able to pilot them.
Yeah.
So they'd need to get modified.
Kind of like a specialty car you get today. So something akin to getting like a Ferrari or something that's just rarer and harder to get because of the materials and stuff it's made out of. So that's my thought process anyway. And again, because there's so much unknowns around that, this is one of the things that we kind of just like break the rules when it comes to what we talk about buying ships under $200. But there are also exceptions with that. So I'll give you one little example. One of the ships I really don't like in the alien ships category is the Blade, and because that's essentially a light fighter. So the easiest way to kind of explain it to people is it's kind of like a Gladius alien ship. So you're paying, like a Gladius is like $90 and a Blade's like what, $250 from memory. So it's like a really overpriced light fighter. And in most cases, you know, like if you can look back and go, oh, I can buy 2.5 Gladiuses to get this one Blade. Why would you ever buy the one? You're really paying a premium to get that.
If you really like it and you really want it, knock yourself out. But I'd agree with you. It's just one of those ships which just doesn't seem to make sense. But on the other side, you've got ships like the Defender. And the Defender's... I actually find it a nice ship to fly. But it's also a ship that's been said to have a really close synergy with the BMM. And so that could be one of those ships where you get it now, because we don't know what it's going to be, how hard it'll be to get in game. And so that does mean, you know, buying it now might mean it's cheaper than it is in game.
Yeah, lots of speculations around what that is, but I'll believe it when I see it. I guess yeah, we'll kind of leave it there. So we're going to go on now to this thing that Sandig found, who's one of our, as I said, boosters on our Discord. And I've known him for quite a few number of years. So what this is he found a really nice CCU chain that goes through, it's warbond only, so you have to kind of buy everything with cash. But what it ended up being, as you can see on the screen right there, is you get a Banu Merchantman for $275. So that means you save $75 cash. Put that in perspective, when Banu Merchantman first came out, they were $250 cash. So that is damn cheap.
That is getting close. That's probably as cheap as you'll ever get it again.
Yeah. And the first thing that comes into my mind when I thought of this, that I said to Algrid, is, oh, you can use that for other ships too. So if you're going up to Reclaimer or anything that's above $275, so think of all the Valkyries, the M2s, all that stuff. And I hear people talk about this all the time. Oh, I want to get an M2, I want to get a C2. This is your way.
The Banu then becomes your stepping stone.
And quite frankly, at that price, I would be buying a couple of these. If you are planning to get 2 or 3 large ships, this is how to get it a little bit cheaper. If you're getting $75 off all those ships, that builds up pretty quickly.
You've also got to remember execute, but when you're going the upgrade from the Banu Merchantman, it takes the value of a Banu Merchantman, not your purchase price. So when you're going the CCU, so depending on what the Banu Merchantman comes, it might knock off some of those cheaper ships, but it'll certainly be a step for something like a Polaris or an M2 or an A2 or.
So to simplify what Alga just said, you're getting a $350 value ship for $275, and yeah, that's just awesome. You know, look at all the ships that you can look at above $350 and up that you can go to. So yeah, I probably might have mentioned 1 or 2 ships that are actually below that. I know you can't go to the Starfarer. I know you can't go to the Starfarer Gemini because they're under that. But there are things in there that I definitely, anything that's over $350. So how does this work? Well, straight off the bat, if you don't buy a sub, you can't get the upgrade at the top, right? And so without that sub, you literally go straight to the Cutlass Blue. But it actually works out cheaper to get the monthly sub, and it saves you $5. So you get all the goodies and the renting of that for the monthly sub, and you save $5, right? So this is $285 if you don't get a sub. If you get a sub, you are then able to buy. Ooh, fingers backwards. No, that way. You're able to buy this upgrade, which is only available to subscribers this month. This is still available in the store. Actually, I've just realized I've actually totally missed. You actually have to buy a G12 to get an LTI token, right? So it doesn't matter which G12 you buy, you are then able to upgrade it to the buy a CCU from that to the Cutlass Red. Just buy the G12 that you like the most, that you want to play with, because again, you can leave this as a separated CCU chain, and then when you get sick of one thing, you can just upgrade to the next. So you can try out the Cutlass Red, the Cutlass Blue, the Defender, and the Merchantman, and all the way down the list. Yeah, I think this is a brilliant idea. And you know, there's nothing to say you can't separate these out again. So, for example, say you wanted, I'm trying to think of a ship. Think of one that's between the Defender and the Banu Merchantman. You know, you can add that in there just to have a play for a bit. You know, to spread your wings, so to speak, and try out. There's no reason you can't do that. There's no reason you can't interweave.
The danger of doing that, though, is you fall in love with a ship in the middle of the chain, and then, oh crap, I'm screwed.
Yeah. But that's just the problem that happens. But at least then you find another ship that you love and you can look at it. But yeah, if you're seriously thinking about buying multiple ships that are up there, it has not been this good for quite a long time. We're going back to almost going back to 2014 pricing.
That is almost the Banu. Well, it's the Banu Merchant, almost the Banu Merchantman concept price.
Yeah. So if you're looking to be one of those people that buy a really big fleet, the cheapest it's been for a long time. You know, unfortunately, yes, you have to pay with cash, but we've all got to pay with cash at some point anyway. So, you know, there are ways of getting around these. So you could technically buy, as I said, a ship between them and buy with cash and then use a bit of credits to go between. So there are ways to work your way around that as well. But that's something you'll have to go on through on an individual basis, depending on your own fleet. All right. And finally, you want to say something?
Yeah. One problem I've got with this alien ship sale.
Oh, yes.
where's the Tavaran?
Yeah.
And that really brings us to, I think, the elephant in the room. We actually think there's more to come.
Yeah.
And I think there are several reasons why we think that.
Well,
One
the first
is the
one.
Prowler's not there.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other reason? One of the
Well, I
other
was going to
reasons we
say the
had
big one that stood out for me was the Banu Merchantman CCU was time sensitive, and it ends on the 15th, which is basically 3 days of a week. So that doesn't make any sense to me. So I think that shows that, as you said, the Prowler is not for sale, and I think that means they're going to have like a Tavaran kind of. This is just me speculating. Tavaran type of special event, and the rumored name that we have for the new ship,
special Tavaran ship,
is the Talon, and that's meant to be the light fighter we saw back at CitizenCon on the slides, the 3 different variants of it. So, yeah.
So that really is what both factors there are really what make us think there is a something more coming. The fact that the Prowler's not available, the fact that there's a rumored ship, it just makes sense. They'll have a Tavaran day with the Prowler and that ship, and then we expect that as the BMM CCU goes out, we'll get probably a Prowler CCU in, but that's speculation on our part.
One thing I forgot to mention on this image is the initial pricings are in Australian dollars, because it's very hard to go back to American dollars. So I just went through, and as you can see in the bolder, wider text, I just added the original US prices for you.
Yep.
And then I've added that little thing where I've added them all up down at the bottom. So if you're wondering what that was, that's what that is. Sorry, I should have started off with that. My bad. All right. Anything else you want to add, Aaron?
It happens. No, I think that's it. It's Alien Week is pretty small and pretty light. But if you want a BMM, now's your time.
Definitely, and definitely if you want some ships above, like if you're thinking of going to a Polaris or something like that. But just remember, anything that's like over $1,000, you have to pay with cash outright anyway, so it won't work with things for like the Javelin or the Idris or the Kraken. So yeah, don't worry about that. It's looking at bigger things like the Polaris, the Pioneer, and stuff like that. All right, yeah, and if things change with the Tavaran and we hear about a new ship or the Prowler goes on sale, we'll give you thoughts on those. But I think most people know what our thoughts are on the Prowler, considering the recent buyer's guide. All right, well, he's been Algrid, I've been Execute.